Welcome everyone to Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. You like that opening, Ryan?
I liked it a lot,
Nice.
actually.
You like that a lot? Yeah.
I actually did.
Welcome
I did. It was
everyone.
great.
Would you like that?
We had the right pepper.
Was that a good pepper?
Yeah, it was nice pepper.
It was a good pepper. Okay, good. Anyways, welcome everyone to Cisco Virtual Kitchen. Chefs in the field today. Awesome SVK show, and we're super excited to have the Culinary Federation Grand Poobah, Ryan, and the head chef for Tabasco Food Service Canada. Ryan, Lisa, welcome back as well from the Culinary Federation. And
good morning. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Jay.
Hit my mic there. I'm going to turn over to you. So it's all yours.
Awesome. Well, we're very excited. Yeah, we're very excited to be back with Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. Thank you for having us and for hosting us and for doing all the behind the scenes things like making that awesome intro. We're excited for our third episode of this series of Chefs in the Fields. And as my favorite part is always traveling to a different part of either Canada or otherwise, today we're excited to travel all the way to Avery Island in Louisiana. And before we meet up with our friends from Tabasco and McElhinney, I'm going to turn things over to our national president of the Culinary Federation and the corporate chef for Tabasco Food Service Canada, Ryan Marquis.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. This is our third episode of In the Field with Cisco Virtual Kitchen. So this one's a bit special for me because this is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I'd like to take this time to introduce Harold Osborne, who is the CEO and president of McElhinney Company, and they are the makers of Tabasco brand pepper sauce. So Harold, thanks for joining us.
Morning, Chef Ryan. Thanks for having me on.
Well, a lot of barrels.
Yeah, so we're in the barrel warehouse. This is the start of the journey, or actually, it's the start of the actual making of Tabasco. The process starts 2 years before you even get in this building with the growing out of peppers and then getting them back up from Latin America. But this is where they start their journey. We put them into these white oak barrels and age them for 3 years. So we thought this would be a suitable place to start our conversation.
Perfect. So when you look at, there's a lot of barrels and they've got a little bit of white on top. What's that for?
Well, that's a good question. And so what, we're in South Louisiana, and we're part of or Avery Island is actually a salt dome. So there's 40,000 feet of salt beneath me. So we tend to use salt. There's a lot of salt, and we tend to use it for almost everything. And part of what it's doing here, after you put the mash into the barrels, we seal them up with salt on the top. So there's a wood cap on this now, and then we put the salt there, and the peppers will start to ferment, and they release CO2 and bubbling liquid that will come up, and that as it gets wet, it makes the salt turns into a brine and allows gases to escape, and then when it stops, it gets hard, so it acts as a seal. So this.
Love technology. I know it's a rainy day down in Louisiana right now, so I think they're just losing a little bit of connectivity, but they'll be back. But
yeah, well, what they've done some amazing things today just to be able to tune in from there for us. So we'll give them a sec just to load. There you are, Harold.
This is what I love about the In the Field thing is it's raw, and it's so raw, so it's awesome. With regards to, hey, listen, we always get a hiccup like this with connectivity. So, Took, back to you.
All right. So again, back in the barrel warehouse, and we were just talking about how we start aging. The process, the aging process starts here, and we can. Our connection with Canada is very strong, and in fact, I think it is actually the first country that we've been in business for 153 years that we've actually, Canada was our first export country. We now export to over 190 countries, but there was a case of Tabasco we found in the archives that had been sent in, I think, 1872, which even predates sending it to the UK and to France. We officially started selling in 1880, but a long, good history with obviously the Caesar, which is I know we're doing a promotion starting in the at Canada Day that will last for 8 or so weeks. But that's been an important part of our connection with Canada.
Any questions, Jay, Lisa?
I have questions because I got my list here. Lisa always preps me so well, so thank you, Lisa. So Harold, what makes Tabasco sauce so different from the other pepper sauces that are out there, other than being like the king sauces?
Well, yeah, we'd like to think that too, but it is, it's right where we are right now in the barrel warehouse. It's 3 simple ingredients of peppers, which is an heirloom pepper that we've been, it's not been bred for disease resistance or enhanced processing. It's just a kind of like an heirloom tomato, and therefore when you breed something, you end up breeding out flavor, or you lose something when you're trying to enhance the how much you can get from it. So we like the fact that it's the original taste. It's the vinegar obviously is something we're very also oversee a lot, and then salt. So it's red Tabasco is 3 simple ingredients, and we stick to that with all of our product, not just the 3 ingredients, but making sure that you understand what it is that's in the products that we give you, and it with that simplicity brings it's also not wanting Tabasco to overtake the show, to be front and center. That it's generally in the back. It makes whatever you're eating, whatever you're tasting, whether you add it into a drink or you add it before you eat it when you're cooking, or right as you're eating it. It's meant to accentuate the flavors that already exist within the dish that you're eating. So I think that, and that the people here too. We have 153 years of expertise and a little over almost 150 in Canada, but it's that generationally been passed down. We have lots of people that have worked here. I'm 5th generation, but there are a lot of people here that I work with on a daily basis that are also 5th and 6th generation who have been doing the same thing. And we talk about the art of making Tabasco, which is when you come, and hopefully you'll be able to get a chance to come visit us down here. But you see the care and the time that it takes for us to actually make the sauce. So that's it's a 5-year process, and 4 years and 11 months are actually making the product, and then we put it into we're very modern when it comes to putting it in a bottle and distributing it to the 190 plus countries around the world that we sell to. But it's that sort of care and care of quality, care of process that really makes us different. So I know that was kind of a long-winded answer, but I could actually go on for a long.
Well, yeah, I can tell that you're very passionate about it, which the legacy and the passion of Tabasco is something that I've always admired. And earlier this year, I was the lucky recipient of this incredible care package from Ryan, actually, to show his appreciation for my daily work with him. And it had all these different bottles of Tabasco, all these different flavors. So I am stocked up, and we use Tabasco daily in our household. I was interested, how do you come up with the new flavors, the various types of Tabasco?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the innovation part of what we do is important because, and we started it very early on. Like we got into canning back into in the 20s and 30s, and we were doing all kinds of other different varieties. And the key to it is being able to say when things don't work. So there are a lot of things that have we've started and that haven't made it to the front. But we like to listen to our consumers, and for instance, when we come up with a new product, we have such incredible a fan base. Really, it's almost that sort of feeling that people that are real as diehard about Tabasco as we are, and we listen a lot to them about what they want and how would we respond to it. Like, do we need something that's do we need a sriracha sauce? Do we need the chipotle? Or we also listen to a lot of chefs, like, all of your the federation that you're working with, big source of inspiration to us all. And then it's kind of like a village coming together to figure out what how we're going to do it, what works, what makes sense, because we'll have 20 or 30 kind of in the pot at one time, and then
well,
we've lost
hey, listen, so
hot,
I mean,
others don't, that and it's all kind of led by the younger generation. For us, it's also been a great source of inspiration, because they're that sort of live to eat or eat to live mentality is sort of moving to the more everyone wants to have that experience and that adventurous experience in food. So being able to make sure that we're meeting that need, and being able to, as foods become more popular, for instance, or fused or modernized, any of that, when you take Peruvian food and Mexican food and it mixes together, where does Tabasco need to be in there? And it does, again, back to we don't want to be front and center. We want to be kind of behind the scenes, making whatever you're eating taste better.
We just had a great question actually pop up on the screen. One of our chef members and our Central Region Vice President, actually, of the Culinary Federation, Adelina, was wondering, is it cooler in there or is it hotter in there? What's the temperature of where you are right now, Harold?
You don't want to know. It is. So this is in the mash warehouse. It's this is how we find out, like, if employees can make it with the company. In fact, generally you spend your first day working in here, and I always like, you can really tell sort of a person's how their work ethic and how they can suffer through difficulties by you're in here. It is extremely warm, and you also have mash, so you're doing physical labor in a a very hot, very humid area, and the mash gets on you. It gets in your eyes. It gets in your hair. It gets everywhere. So you really, again, it speaks to the passion of our employees as well, because they love doing this, and part of it's also in here tasting mash. So when you're in here, you're sweating, whether it's winter or summer.
Well, I'm surprised because you look quite comfortable. So you're obviously very used to it.
I spent a fair number of hours in here. But, the fun thing is to get like Chef Ryan down here, and especially having spent the winter in Toronto, and then have them experience the humidity, the heat, and the burn, which Ryan's a pro, so he can do it. But we still enjoy watching them.
Yeah, I go down there and lose a few pant sizes, for if I spend a week, you kind of sweat that off pretty quickly. So. Yeah. Well, thanks, Took. I appreciate it a lot. And, I think, we've got another segment coming with that we're actually going to be in the barrel, the warehouse, actually the aging warehouse. But Jay.
All right. Well, we'll run to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back. So thanks again, Harold. Amazing.
Thank you all.
I'm just blown away.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Naeem here from La Burger Week. I'm super excited to announce that Cisco is going to be a partner of La Burger. Hey, it's Naeem here from La Burger Week. I'm super excited to announce that Cisco is going to be a partner of La Burger Week this year. Across the country, coast to coast, burgers, delicious burgers for everyone. If you're interested in joining La Burger Week, Visit us at leburgerweek.com for all the information. We can't wait for the deliciousness.
Welcome back. That was a quick
Amazing.
commercial.
That was quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if Megan made it. Megan had 35
did it.
seconds to run from one end of the barrel room to the other end of the barrel room. So I just want to know if she made it.
She's here.
I
Looks like
believe
she did her job. Well done, Megan. Especially now that we know it's hot in there. So we're moving over now to speak with Christian. Welcome, Christian.
Thanks for having me.
It's a good
We were
spot.
actually-
That's a great shot of you right there.
Yeah, we were actually joking with
Yeah,
Christian.
so we're,
It's like his weather green screen behind him right now. So
Yeah, talking about Tabasco mash barrels, coming in from the Northeast and making their way down.
No, that's no green screen. That's the real thing.
This is the real thing. It's amazing. So, Christian, I have a question for you here. Is how many bottles of Tabasco sauce are made in a day? Like, everyone has it in their cupboard, first of all. How many are made in a day?
Yeah. So our factory has the capacity to make up to 700,000 bottles in a day. We don't always make that much, but we have in the past.
A lot of hot sauce.
Very cool. And
It's
you're
fun.
the agricultural manager.
I am, yes,
So
ma'am. So
tell
I
us what
work
exactly
in,
that entails.
Yeah, so I work on the agriculture side of the business. So as Took was talking about earlier, we grow our crops on the island for our seed stock, which we then distribute to all of our growers in Latin America. So we grow roughly about 15 acres here on the island. So I help oversee that process. But we also have a network of growers in 7 different countries in Latin America and one over in Zimbabwe. So it entails working with them and coming up with quotas and ensuring that they're using the right quality practices. And before COVID, it had a lot of travel involved with it. So we're ready to get that started again.
now, how many
Amazing.
growing areas you guys got worldwide, roughly?
So we grow in about 7 countries, but each of those countries we grow in different regions and really changes over the years. A lot of the countries we're in, we may have tried 3 or 4 different spots in that country, but found a unique spot that works well with our peppers.
Now, with picking the peppers, I mean, it's is there a machine or anything else like that they use to pick the peppers, or how are they picked?
So they're picked by hand, but we have tested mechanical harvesting in the past. One of the things that we really stick behind over here is the quality, and sometimes the quality a little bit is lost with mechanical harvesting. So hand picking the peppers, even though it's a lot more labor intensive and more costly, that's how we can ensure that we're getting the best pepper mash.
Very cool. And I'm just interested in you, in your position there. Are you similar to what Harold was talking about, how many people have been around for a while? Or is this a newer position for you as the agricultural manager?
So I've only been here for about 3.5 years, and I've been in this position just for really the past year and a half. So this is relatively new to me, but there's a lot of experience around the company, like Took was saying earlier. So there's been several people in this position before me. So definitely a lot of collaboration with them to pick their brains on what's going on. But we all kind of work together over here, and it's there's a lot of experience that everyone can kind of learn off one another and each other's past experiences.
Yeah, I remember when I started with the company, I think, about 10 years ago, actually, I believe Took was actually doing your job. So I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
How things have changed, right? So, it's a family company too, right? It's a family company. So it's, people are, multi-generational. I think, Christian, you guys are you're sixth generation, right? Or fifth.
I am. I'm sixth generation. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's still a privately held company too, right?
It is. Yes. And like Took was, saying earlier, we have a really loyal employee base that, we have. I'm a sixth generation family member, but we have fifth and sixth generation employees here at the company that have been around for just about as long as the company has.
Yeah, and when we were talking about what Tabasco is, when we talked about what's it made of, I mean, I know Took talked about, 3 ingredients, and pepper mash being one of the ingredients behind you. But how many barrels roughly would be in the warehouse right now at any given time, aging for 3 years?
So it really fluctuates throughout the years. We can have bumper crops in certain areas and natural disasters or something like that happen, which is why we're spread out so far. But it usually fluctuates between 65, 75,000 barrels. We've had more, we've had less, but it usually fluctuates in that area.
Wow, that's a lot of barrels.
Yeah.
And would you happen to know like how many bottles come out of a barrel? I don't know if that's necessarily a stat that you would have, but
So the number that we've kind of thrown around in the past is about 5,000 2-ounce bottles can be made with a barrel. But that fluctuates from barrel to barrel. Some peppers, will lose a lot more of their liquids and have a little lower level. Sometimes they're filled at different levels. So it's, again, wide range on how many bottles come out of a barrel.
Very cool.
I know we were actually talking about salt earlier with Took, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about where the salt comes from.
Yeah, so up until several years ago, we were getting a lot of our salt from Avery Island. So topping the barrels, as Took was talking about, we were actually sending salt down to a lot of our growers. But a little while ago, the salt that's beneath us right now isn't necessarily up to quality that we would like. And what they do is they actually send a lot of that up north, and we actually get salt from just down the road from another area over Bro Bridge.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, again, a personal question. Of all the types of Tabasco, do you have a personal favorite? Or are you a traditionalist?
I like them all. The original red I use. Yeah, I'm a traditionalist. I use the original red on everything, but there's so many different ways to use it, whether it's cooking or putting it on a meal before you eat it, or cocktails like Took was talking about. It's each one of the products, I always find new ways to use all of them.
That's awesome.
So the barrels actually, they would leave this room and then they would go into production, right? And then you guys would blend it with vinegar, and maybe I've been there before, so I'm kind of skewed a little bit. I know exactly what's happening afterwards, but I think it's good to talk about what happens between 9 and 9:30 kind of every day when you guys, prior to doing it, when you guys turn around and it's inspected, and maybe talk about that a little bit in regards to quality.
Absolutely. So all of the mash we have coming in right now is fresh pepper mash. And we'll actually unload it where Took was standing earlier. We'll fill up the barrel, cap them, and then they're actually stacked right here behind where I'm standing. And so right behind me are barrels that we received in 2021. Once you get to the back of the warehouse, that's when you start running into the 2018 mashes that we start pulling to use for production. So every morning, a number of barrels, the salt is brushed off. We remove the lid, and that's 3-year-old mash inside. So those get moved over to production, and every morning at 9 a.m., a family member, usually the CEO, goes over and inspects each barrel of mash before it gets used. So every bottle of Tabasco, that mash has been inspected by a family member to make sure that it's up to the quality standards. So then, yeah, Chef Ron, like you were saying, that mash is pumped out into a bulk drainer. Vinegar is mixed with it to kind of make a slurry. It'll get pumped up to a mixing tank, and mixing tank will mix it for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then it's pumped through essentially 2 strains, a bigger one to catch the seeds and a smaller one to catch all the, pepper skins and other solids. So what you have is the pepper mash, which is just peppers and salt mixed with vinegar, and then strained.
That's crazy. It's just when to talk about that the pepper mash is actually inspected daily for daily production by either Took or you or another family member is crazy. And I mean, there's probably let's say there's 100 barrels or 110 barrels that you guys are actually looking at it with an incandescent light, looking for color, smelling, tasting every barrel. It's absolutely insane. Like, no one would go into business to say, okay, we're going to plant our crop now and we'll see if we can sell a bottle in 5 years from now, and I find that it's really the real pepper sauce. It's the pepper sauce that started it all, really, if you kind of look at it, and everybody's just trying to get to that peak, right, of what it would be at. So.
Well, it's been fascinating for me because I've obviously had really Tabasco.
Go ahead, Christian.
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think tasting and smelling the mash every morning, that's one of the things that keeps us grounded. There could be a lot of new things going on or crises around the world, or who knows what's going to happen, but inspecting that mash every day kind of start off the day knowing what's important.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that it's fascinating to me to a product that I love and use regularly, to see the faces behind it. Now, when I'm having my Tabasco, I'll be thinking of Harold and Christian and all the effort going into it behind the scenes. So thank you so much for joining us today and for teaching me so much about Tabasco.
I've even actually kind of got Lisa's daughter hooked on it. So, she's loving green Tabasco right now. Yeah. So we're starting them young up here in Canada.
Absolutely.
Well, that's great.
Well, thanks for being with us today, Christian and Harold and the whole team there. I know that it wasn't necessarily easy.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
No, we thank y'all for coming down. It was our pleasure as well. And if y'all get a chance to come down here in person, we'd love to have you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
It's on my list.
Good deal.
Take care.
So I think that's it for the kind of tour right now. But I want to, Lisa and Jay, thanks for having McElhaney on board. I appreciate it a lot. And, the Culinary Federation guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate all the hard work you do. And Jay, even though you don't want to show your face on camera right now, there he is. So I just want to say, thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to kind of showcase a brand that's been around for 153 years and really kind of do an in-depth look, and as well as our partnership with the Culinary Federation. So, I'm not normally on these, so this is kind of a new thing for me. And I just wanted to kind of, sorry if I kind of took some questions, but I get so passionate and excited when I talk about it. So thank you very much, guys, for everything you guys do.
Thank you. Thank you for the Culinary Federation, just being able to do all these different things with us. And I was sitting back in awe back here, also doing a few other things, but pretty crazy to be able to look at that and just the history that's behind a brand that is an iconic brand in the world that's known everywhere, right? And I think it's one of those things that as a chef, you get into that right away. That's one of your top spot. I think it's salt and pepper, then Tabasco.
Yeah, well, I can talk for CW Shasky. We kind of do food service and ingredient, and I have to say we've represented the company now for over 20 years, and we've imported it into the country. And I have to say that there's a true love of the brand here in the company, and to actually use it. And really, our job is to kind of just get people to try. I kind of tend to say our mission is to defeat bland food across the country, right? And just try to sit there and make things taste good. You know what I mean? And you can do that for a couple drops, right? So it's an awesome brand to represent. So
yeah, it is. And just thanks
Wonderful.
again, Lisa, and also your support on this and prepping me and getting me all ready for all these different things that we do together. So thank you for that. And so that's a wrap for today with Chefs in the Field. And then we'll be back. We're taking a little summer break, rerun time. But we'll be back again with Chefs in the Field this fall. And I'm sure Ryan will pull some amazing strings again and give us amazing shows and content that will blow our minds all fall and all winter long. Right? Awesome again. So everyone else have a great rest of your day. Yeah, that's it for this week, I think. And then we have one little thing tomorrow, but that's different than what we typically do. But we'll be back. We have reruns this Thursday, just so you know. We start our reruns, summer shows, and we'll be back this summer, later August, I think it is. So anyways, thanks again, Lisa, Ryan. Always a pleasure.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great
rest of your day.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.